Hi, my name is Michael with Atlas IED Training. This is part 2 in the video programming a Blue Bridge touch panel. Let's get started.
We'll put a next button on page 2 so it takes you to page 3, and we'll do a back button as well. So that's pretty easy to do. Since we already have the size made up for this button, and we want to keep the same size and text and font color, we can just basically draw a lasso around this thing, right click on it, say copy. We'll go to page 2. Page 2, we'll click on the grid. We're going to paste it. There's our next button. I think I'll put the next button over here. And let's point that towards page 3. So all we have to do really is get rid of the 1 digit there, enter a 3. Now that next button is associated with page 3. But we also want a back button on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a copy paste. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to change the text to back. And I'm going to associate it with page 1. So over here, we've associated it now with page 1. So let's do the same thing on the third page, except we can make it even easier at this point. We can just lasso around all of that. I've highlighted both. I'm going to right click, I'm going to copy, I'm going to go to page 3, I'm going to paste it, I'm going to put them in place. And then all I have to do is just change the page number it's associated with. So since we're on page 3, the back button would take us to page 2. Just change the number. My next button will take us to page 1. And we're good to go. So now we have all of our control page buttons laid out for these 3 pages. Let's go back to page 1. Let's put the next button over here. That way it stays in form. We also have our label. We can just drag a label in. We'll call this the menu. We'll give the this label, we'll call it menu. In fact, we'll make it the same size as this button here. So if I click on this button, I can see it's a 120 by 90. So I can click on this, I can type in 120 by 90, hit enter. And we can put some text in there. So I'll click on that label. The label text gets filled in here in this field. Let's call it menu. So that's menu. We can give it a black text and a clear background if you want. I like the clear. Let's pump up the size of the font. There we go. So this is our menu. Another item on our library is image. When you drag an image in, you get a box with a question mark. That's because it doesn't know what image you want to put in there. And you can search for an image file over in Properties. So let's make this a size here. Let's just make it big so it's easy to see. And let's find a file. It needs to be a PNG file. There we go. Nice PNG file. You can do things like you can put your control buttons over the top of them if you'd like. You can fill in the entire grid, and you can send to back, and you're pretty good to go with that. One thing I need to mention is the image file does not get stored in the memory of the DSP hardware. So if you have your touch screens programmed and ready to go, and you go out to a job site with them, and your tech has a different computer with the file on it, he needs to make sure, or she needs to make sure that they have this PNG file to add to the touch panel. Okay, so let's talk about the rectangle function. The rectangle is basically what it is. It's a rectangle. It's just used to be a separator. You can make it any size you want, kind of move it around how you want. You can change the thickness of the line. I could put a 6 line. I could change the color of it. There it is. So if I want to put a whole bunch of items within that just to have a separation, like the word menu there, for instance, I can just straighten that out a little bit. There we go. And if we want to put buttons or whatnot inside, we can. And it's just a way to keep your touch panel organized. We'll use that more on the next page. So we've got our first page here. Just bring this, make this a little smaller. There we go. So we have our setup here for the first page. The only other thing you can do on this at this point would be to password protect the page. Typically, if you're making a menu page, you don't put a password on it. You usually put a password on everything after the menu.
Thanks for watching Atlas IED training. Please see our website for more videos and in-depth training in Blue Bridge platform.